Hello, my name is Jaymes. I use they, them pronouns, and I am a lover of many things. Mostly music, like pretty much entirely music. Today we are going to be discussing whether or not Found Heaven is Conan Gray's best album. I'm here repping my Super Ache merch, so, the competition is there. He's incredible. He already defeated the sophomore album curse. Can he beat himself again? We will find out. But this for me is the third time's a charm. Back when Neverending Song came out, I recorded a video for that one, and it was gonna be my first video for the channel, and I never finished it. That's been a while since then. And then last night I tried to record an initial reaction to the full album, and I was using a new microphone I did not know how to use, and the last 2/3 of the video are completely muted. There's no sound, there's nothing. So it's not usable. So instead of my first reaction, we are just going to talk about all of my thoughts about this album. The things that I like, themes that follow throughout the album. We can make this even cooler than an initial reaction because I know what things are going to carry throughout the whole theme of the album. So we're gonna have fun with it. I really do love this style for him. It's so 80s. It's such a great vibe for him. So I'm really excited to cover all of that. Like, it fits his voice so well. This is one of my most anticipated albums of the entire year, and since I've already heard it, I can tell you it did not disappoint. And I'm very excited now that we have 13 whole songs of Conan Gray in this style. So let's just get started right now. The first song is Found Heaven, and I will just tell you guys my thoughts as we go. I'm so happy to hear your thoughts as well, so if you have anything you want to leave down in the comments, absolutely do so at any time. Also, I do want to say I'm sorry if there's any background noise in this video. I do not live alone, but I think that it will be mostly okay. The first thing I want to say about this song, it is the perfect intro to this album since it is a new sound and a new style for Conan. It's such a great way to bring us into this soundscape. Madeline has joined us. This intro is not only the perfect introduction for this new sound from Conan, it's also such a cool introduction to some of the themes in this album because this song is very much like trying to heal your inner child from like some religious trauma, and this intro sounds like very religious choral music, and it's so cool, it's so dramatic, I love it. So I love the lyrics of the first verse. They are so meaningful, and they are definitely so personal to Conan himself. But on top of that, I really love how they're pretty sad. Not being accepted by your family and kind of praying to be different, only for, the end says heart unchanged. So, you tried to change yourself, but you can't. I'm sorry, the camera is shaking. My cat is right there. I have 3 of them. I really love that we go from all of that into don't be scared, little child, you're no demon. Like, it's basically him comforting his younger self and saying, like, you're actually okay. You don't have to believe the God. You don't have to be scared of the feeling of being in love, because that feeling is heaven, which is also really interesting with the religious vibes as well. He's saying, like, you don't have to be scared that maybe loving someone is some sort of sin or demon. Like, you don't have to be scared of not making it into heaven because you just found it. Like, that is such a cool thing, and that the fact that that's the title of the album makes it so meaningful. I love it. So I love the melody of these verses, by the way, but this second verse is also really meaningful, and it connects so well to the last song as well. It wraps the album up in a perfect circle because it's about leaving when he was a child and how much it hurt. And I love that it calls it like a holy war, like maybe that was part of the reason. It gives us a little bit more insight, but regardless, he's like really trying to motivate himself and tell himself that it's okay that it happened because he needed to protect himself, which connects so well to Winner at the end. And it's so interesting as well how the album starts on this more optimistic note and ends on such a pessimistic note. I also think it's really interesting because this is Conan's first time falling in love. This whole album is the story about that and how that happened and what happened. It starts with the falling in love, and this was how he felt about it. And maybe that's why it ends on the pessimistic note of that similar story, is because it starts out and he found that love and he was like, oh my God, it's gonna be okay. But then it didn't work out, and maybe that was how he felt afterwards, where he was like, actually, maybe it's not gonna be okay. Actually, maybe they were right, which is a horrible feeling, and I hope that he doesn't still feel like that if he did. It's time to get into Never Ending Song, which was the first single that came out for this album. I adore this song. I love the production so much because it starts and ends with the same pattern of notes, so that literally if you put the album on repeat, the song on repeat, it literally becomes a never-ending song. It ends the way it starts, so I have done this. If you put this song on repeat, you will forget where it starts and ends. And it's so much fun, and it perfectly matches the theme of the story that he's telling with this song. So this is where I really start to talk about Conan's voice here, because the vocal tones that he uses and the techniques he uses in this album are so good, because it is his voice and it is his vocals, and I love how well this album and style highlights his amazing vocals, but this is also not the exact way that he normally sings. Like, he does some different things with his tone, his placement, and just the general techniques that he uses in order to really magnify and fit that like 80s style that he's doing, and he emanates that style so perfectly. Like, I swear you could convince me that you pulled this album right out of the 80s. It is perfect. He clearly has so much like love and knowledge for the era that he's trying to emanate, and it really shows. But I also love the lyrics of this first verse. It really is interesting when you think about the plot of this album. It seems to start after a breakup has happened and not before, but then we get into earlier parts of the relationship. But because it's the never-ending song, the never-ending relationship almost, it makes you wonder, is this where the album story starts, or is this later on in the story? Like, we can't entirely tell, but we know this probably happened a few times, because he says it goes on and on and on. Tried to turn the page, but our story wasn't stopping. Like, he's saying he tried to move on, but it just kept going, almost out of his control. Is this a personal attack? Yes, it is. I'm sorry, what the fuck is that lyric? Like, what the fuck? This whole song is such a fun little bop. It's sad, but it's just a fun little bop. Enjoying my time, being a little sad, but dancing the hell out. And then he says this. Like, I'm sorry, I thought this was a safe space. Clearly, I was wrong. Did I ever think Conan Gray was a safe space? No. I thought I came here to have a fun, good time and dance my heartbreak away. No. And I love that he says, you and I sacrificed my adolescence. Like, it's not putting the blame on someone. It's literally saying it's a thing they did together, only for it to go this way. And he literally says, we've grown too close, now it can't amount to nothing, which is almost the exact reason it keeps going around and around. It's like, well, too much has happened, we've gotten too close, it can't just all be for nothing. I deserve peace, I deserve freedom. Why would he write this? I can hear your voice. The vocal run that he does for Your Voice, so good. So good. I really love the chorus of this. It kind of sounds like a mixture between you're at a disco and you're dancing and like running down the city street, like with the lights shining and stuff. That's what it feels like to me. That right there, the way he like flips the O for done, and the way that he puts it like lower in his voice and like more back in his throat, it makes it sound so cool, and it like perfectly mixes with, oh my god, hello? It perfectly mixes with the background production, and I am no longer safe in this household. And then you have those amazing backing vocals for the last chorus, just so perfect, and they layer so well with the main melody. Okay, now we're on Fainted Love. I love this one. I love how this album, like his previous two albums, are very good and very emotional, but the production really matches that as well. So it's very like depressing. This album is sad as hell and emotional, but the production is so fun. It's literally like you're at a party dancing away the sadness, which is exactly what he's singing about. So it's perfect. It's exactly what he was going for. It's like so grand. And then there's that like twinkly sound happening over top of it. Like, it's just so good, and everything is layered so well together. Hi. So because Neverending Song was before this, it really makes me wonder like the timeline of this song as well. Because if you listen to this song by itself, it sounds kind of like the beginning of something, right? Like the beginning of a relationship, getting into it, seeing the red flags, choosing to ignore them, and this is kind of how it started, right? But if you listen to this in context with Neverending Song first, it makes you wonder if even this exact situation has happened before, or if they've been a thing before, and this is a getting back together moment instead of a getting together for the first time moment. I obviously don't have the answers. I think it's really cool that you can put it in either perspective depending on like your own experiences. I think it really could fit either situation, and that's so cool. I love it when songs can do that. And by the way, who said that to Conan? I will fight them. Conan, do you want to give me a name? Because I can fight. I can't fight, but like, I'll fight. I'll do it. Just tell me when and where. This whole chorus is so cool. This whole album is amazing to scream, obviously. Like, once I learn the lyrics, I'm gonna be screaming this shit everywhere. I'm gonna be everyone's worst nightmare. But it sounds so grand and like so emotive. It reminds me of kind of like, I want to say like Pat Benatar, like that kind of sound. I just love it so much. What's really interesting about like the context this second verse gives is it's like this, it seems like this other character, this other person was in a really dark place, not feeling very well, and so Conan went to comfort them. But this person says, "We're nothing, I'm the worst if you want it." And then the chorus is Conan saying like, "Don't worry about me, it's cool, I want your fainted love." This other person was going through a hard time, and Conan basically decided to be like, well, my feelings don't matter, I'll be fine. I want your love and I want to make you feel better, which is so sad, but kind of relatable, you know? That bridge hurts so badly. And it's so perfect, okay? It adds so much to the story, and it really drives home, like, the hurt in this song. I've been abandoned. It's so sad. Man, now I really relate to this song. I already did, but you know. I really love the fade out at the end of the song. It kind of drives home the Pat Benatar vibes I was telling you about, and it's just so good. And the next one is Lonely Dancers, which was one of the singles, and it's such a great one, so fun. Covers the themes I was talking about earlier about, like, just dancing away the pain. I also really love this backing track. I almost feel like it could be in Heartstopper Season 3. I love the melody of this so much. I feel like I can and will say that about every single song on this album, but melody, vocals, insane. And I love the tone and techniques he uses for this once again. And like the little vocal runs that he does at the end of some of the lines, they're just so perfect. That right there, I'm never gonna get over that note. Ugh, it's just so good. I can't. This is a perfect example of how this exact genre and style is the perfect one for his voice. Like, not only does he embody it so well, but it is the perfect way to highlight just how good his voice is. Like, it's amazing. That is me at every man my friends have ever talked to. I love that bridge. I love how it gets optimistic again, because there's such a tone in these songs of like just absolute depression and heartbreak, but there's so much optimism as well, and like, get up and dance and you will get over it, you'll be okay. I love how well balanced it is. So the next one on this album is Alley Rose, which was the most recent single. It has been stuck in my head ever since it came out. I do think it's probably my favorite, or one of my favorites on the album. Absolutely my favorite bridge on the album. So fucking good. Just out of this world. It's also one of the longest songs on the album. A lot of these songs are a little bit shorter than like the average song. Songs in general have been getting shorter, I think, but for these songs, I really do think it works. Like, they're as long as they need to be, they have a full song structure, they don't skip anything, they just are what they want to be. You know, the song, it suits the song. The song that follows this is the shortest one on the album, and we will talk about that. This one hurts. So the first thing I want to say that I love about this song is how the atmospheric, like, feeling of the production perfectly fits this song. So far we've been doing all of these ones that are like really boppy and fun. They might be sad, but the production is really going. It's like getting you to dance, getting you to have fun, giving you the feeling of like running and dancing. This one, it's like slower, it's sadder, it's more dramatic. It's putting you into that feeling. Like, this is where the really sad feelings are starting to kick in. I also do like that line, so much to say that subject sore. Like, that's such a good way to put that. This song is so sad because of that exact part where he's being kissed and he says, "The way that you kissed me, I knew it would be the last." But on top of that, this whole chorus line is just, "Don't leave me alone again," which is the realization settling in that that person is going to leave you or that the end is coming in some way, and then you're begging anyway for them not to leave. Like, that feeling is just so painful. And really, in some ways, this song is a little bit of a love song, and yet it's a love song about begging for someone not to leave you when you already know they're going to. I really love that part right there, how the production changes and gets really cool to get into the chorus where we're not feeling that melancholy, we are screaming. If you are not screaming this song, something is wrong with you. What I will say is that this song is not a screaming in the shower song, okay? It's not. This song is a screaming in the street while sprinting at full speed while it's pouring rain on you, okay? The shower's not dramatic enough. Like, I'm so serious right now. I don't want to do this. Best bridge on the album? Best bridge on the album. You cannot disagree with me. If you want to disagree with me, that sucks. You're wrong. So sorry to say it. You're wrong. There's so much to unpack. It hurts so much. I love how it kind of slows down the rhythm for a minute, but he's just like screaming. And I love how it brings out all of these themes that have been present throughout the whole story of this song and really like brings them to a new conclusion here of saying like, I ran my fingers through your hair and thanked God to touch the flame. Like, that's a whole other religious reference, and like you could think like the flame, like that would be like a sin, right? Like the flame of hell almost. So it's like you're thanking God for the ability to even sin. That's how I read it, and that's crazy. I thought if you leave me, I'd be the reason why, which comes back throughout the album. Even though I feel like he was definitely left by this person, he does blame himself for some things, clearly. But you're the first person I've seen that's proven that might be a lie. Like, even in this moment where he feels like they're about to leave, he's still saying, like, this person made him feel so, like, loved. He made him feel like his whole life, the way that he was raised, the way that the things that he went through, like, this is the first person who's made him feel like that's not what love has to be like. And then when we go back into the pre-chorus, it gets so much softer and quieter. Like, this whole song follows all of the stages of grief, but like in a much more realistic way, because the stages of grief don't have to be going in order. They don't have to be taken just once. It's like depression, anger, bargaining, depression, like back and forth. And I feel like we went from like anger and like denial and bargaining all in that bridge back into like depression, almost acceptance, but still begging them not to leave. Does that make sense? I'm so obsessed with this song. I'm never gonna get over it. So now we are on the final fight. We also have another cat. This is Cass. He says hi. The Final Fight, this song is crazy. It's the shortest on the album for a very good reason, okay? The production and like design of this song is absolute genius, and it perfectly captures the feeling that this song is trying to get across. When I saw this title, especially after Alley Rose, I thought The Final Fight was going to be a song that kind of explains the final fight. Like, that was going to tell us about the last fight that they had that really ended things. That's not what it's about at all, and it's crazy, and it hurts a little bit, honestly. I feel a little attacked by this one. I also really love the background of this one as well. Like, the production kind of sounds like it should be in the background of like the more melancholy parts of like a late 90s rom-com. This is so sad because the verse 1, he literally explains, he's believing someone's lies, tried to bite back but I couldn't, I just stood and cried. And then it says, but all I wanted was the final fight. All I wanted was to make it right. So it's literally him saying the final fight didn't happen. It's not the feeling of like, this was the last fight that like put the nail in the coffin. It's the feeling of wanting that closure, wanting to feel like maybe they had tried more. And like, all I needed was to make it right. Like maybe they'd had that final fight, and then they would have gotten something out that would have been something they could apologize for, something they could be like, oh, now our feelings are out in the open and we understand each other better. Like something to get that closure that either they could have fixed things or they had known that they had that fight and it's over. Like, just not getting that closure is what this song is, and it's so sad. The vocals. This song is another perfect example of what I'm saying about how this style, perfect for his voice. It does so much to highlight the feelings in this song, right? The production is so somber and like sweet but very sad. It just kind of takes a step back and lets him just sing it out, and his vocals are just so emotive and they are so out there and they're so gorgeous. Like, it just lets his voice shine. This is pretty much the only song on the album that doesn't have a bridge. And the thing about this, I wish that the audio hadn't fucking died on my last video, because when it ended, I literally said, oh, it's over? It's just done? And that's exactly the feeling that you're supposed to be left with after this song, because that's the exact feeling of that breakup, was that it was just like, oh, it's over? It's just done? Just like that? And that's exactly the feeling that the song captures. Like, it's so genius the way that they did it, because it's just so short, to the point, and it leaves you almost without closure, because you're like, no, there was supposed to be more. Because there's not a bridge. There's not anything left. It's just over. It's so good. Oh my god. Big, huge, giant galaxy brain. The next one is called Miss You. I think this one is really interesting for like the sort of plot of what's going on here. I really like what this adds to the story, because while it seems pretty clear in a lot of these songs that someone else broke Conan's heart, someone else broke up with him and left him, there's even some things that make it sound like they might have been with someone else at the same time as Conan, which is awful and devastating. There's even a line in the previous song that says, though it's me who may be broken, it was you to blame. Like, there's so many parts in this whole album that show you that somebody else did something, but this song is basically his way of saying that, like, it wasn't just one person who broke the relationship, right? A relationship takes two people. It's not just one person's fault if it doesn't work out. And so he's accepting that he also had blame in the situation, which is, I think, really cool and mature. And I really like what it adds. And I also think it's a personal attack, personally. Vocals, again, I can't say this enough. And I love the line, left you dancing in the dark. Like, it's such a good metaphor. I really love that lyric because there's multiple things we could think of it in the context of the album and of Conan Gray as a person, right? The search for the promised land could be like searching for fame, because he talked about going and seeing the New York lights. It could be something like that, or just searching for something in New York. But I think with the idea of found heaven, I think it could also be like searching for the promised land in that sense, like searching for that like found heaven, only to come back being like, it's you. But then like, did he come back too late? The way that he phrases the like chorus and post-chorus is really interesting, because it's not just him coming back and saying, I miss you, take me back. It's him saying, is it wrong to now decide that I miss you? Is it wrong to realize a little bit late that I miss you? And I think that makes it a lot more interesting than just someone like, oh, I came crawling back. It's a lot more interesting to say, am I even allowed to do that? Get him out of my brain, actually. When did he go crawling around in there? Get him out. You don't want to be in there, Conan. Get out. Leave me be. Give me peace. Such a good ending vocal. And now we are on to the bourgeoisies, which, is that a word? Like, actually, I know bourgeoisie is a word, but is bourgeoisies a word? I thought bourgeoisie was already plural. But I'm not one to tell Conan Gray he is wrong. If he says it's a word, it's a word. I believe him. This one is fun. I love this one. It's definitely not my favorite on the album because I gravitate towards the sadder ones. I always do. But I love having a fun little bop, and I feel like this song and Girls and Boys are the kind of thing I was really missing actually on Super 8. Super 8 has like one happy song and it's Best Friend, and it's right at the beginning, and then it's just hit after hit after hit. And while this album is also, it has a lot more of a boppy vibe, it's still like depressing stuff, and it's nice to have a couple breaks where we just have fun. Kid Crow doesn't really have that either. Kid Crow is another one that's like hit after hit after hit. I think it's really, it does have like Maniac, which is a little bit more upbeat, and Wish You Were Sober. So there's some like upbeat moments in there that do bring up the energy a little bit, which is needed. Let's get into it. So first off, the lyrics are so funny. Like, what do you mean? But also, I love the like speak singing. It's so fun, and it kind of just makes you bop, which is what I was doing. But like on top of that, it almost kind of reminds me of like a TV advert. Like, it kind of almost sounds like one of those workout ads that came out of the 80s. I think it's really cool. What out-of-pocket lyrics? Like, it's just so fun. And like, what is going on here? I really like the bridge of this one because it's so different than all of the other bridges, but it kind of brings the tone down for a little bit, and it still is really cool. Like, I genuinely love it. Vocals are amazing again. And I do really love the meaning of this song. Like, it is about like looking at someone who has a little bit more money than you and thinking like, wow, that would be amazing. I want that. Like, it is still a meaningful song. It's just also really fun. Now it's time for Forever With Me. Why you still with me? Well, at least in all my memories. This just hurts. It's so interesting of a way to talk about it. Like, to say that someone's forever with you in your memories. Like, it's a really good way to immortalize it, because like they do say you never get over your first love. And I think even if you do, when you have that first breakup and you have that initial feeling, you do feel like you're never gonna get over it. And you do feel like, I'm gonna love that person forever even though they're gone. And this is such an interesting and really great way to express that feeling. This one feels very Queen to me. I don't have a specific song or example, it just does. And it hurts my feelings also. I feel very attacked. I'm not having a good time. I don't want to do this. Smiling now as I sing. That moment is really good. It's really nice to like have that relationship, have it end in a way that sucks the way it seems like it did, and still be able to look back on the whole situation and that person with so much love, and to be able to credit them with such good things, to say like, you're the reason I cry and there was so much bloodshed, but you're the reason I learned to love. so it's bittersweet, and to be able to still look back at all those memories fondly, and that's so wonderful and important. And the line, "I'm even smiling now as I sing," it's a great line. It makes the song hurt even more, but the reason that that line is good in this song is because you have to sell it, right? You can write that down on paper for your lyrics, but you have to then sell it. And you can hear the smile in his voice when he says that. And that hurts my feelings so much. This bridge is definitely one of the best on the album. It perfectly captures it, like the screaming vocals, saying that he's feeling so much anger at this person, but he also can't just blame them for everything because he also broke their heart. Like, that is such a mature way to look at that, by the way, especially for it being like his first relationship and breakup. Like, I do not have that kind of self-awareness, I fear, but slay. It's so good. It hurts, and then it takes you into this chorus that's like slightly different. It's such a good way to have a bridge, to really have it add to this pain and this ache, and then have it transition this chorus into something new and bigger and grander. With the key change, mind you, the key change. It's so good. Okay, and now that we're done with that sadness, we have something that's not quite as sad, very dramatic and intense, which is "Eye of the Night." The drama is perfect, the vibe, the atmosphere, it's so good. And I love how it is a little bit sad, because it's like about not being able to escape those memories now that it's over, right? And especially after Forever With Me, it's like, now it's like you're being haunted by that feeling. And it's also like darker. Like, I feel like sonically, this is the darkest song on the album. This one also kind of sonically gives me the vibes of like Thriller by Michael Jackson. Bella Swan core. I really like the description of not being able to escape memories as fighting for your life inside a silent war. I think that's such a good way to put it, and I think there's so many different angles you can take on this song depending on like your own life experiences. Like, does it follow Forever With Me and it's a breakup and it's the memories with that person that haunt you? Is it like a trauma memory? Is it like any other sort of memories? Like, there's so many different memories that can haunt you and follow you around that feel like this, and I think you can apply this song to so many different things. Another key change. This one is so good. I love these key changes. It's time to get into Boys and Girls. This one is fun. I also love that there's a Bowie reference in this one, because like so much of this album to me feels very Bowie inspired, and like even his voice kind of sounds like Bowie. I like that there's an actual lyric that just says sigh. Like, I feel that. Me too. Me too, girl. I will say, this song is pretty relatable. I read one of the descriptions says Conan wrote it about how embarrassing it is to have a crush on someone who's really hot, which is funny to me, knowing what Conan Gray looks like. Like, I'm sorry, sir, you are gorgeous? That's exactly what I was going at here. Like, the line, "There's no point competing." Like, Conan Gray, of all people, thinking he can't compete. Like, do you know what you look like? Be for real with me right now. I can't, but it's a very good, fun song, and it's relatable to me anyway. I hadn't picked up that lyric before. That's very funny. Nobody cares that you're psychotic because your face is so good. Like, that's really funny. This specific part sounds so much like Mr. Roboto to me. Like, so many different influences went into this album, and I love it so much. I just scrolled past the description, and part of Conan's description for this song is, "Damn, I'm just like every other bitch." I love that outro so much, the little girls, that's a little different. It's so fun. And I love that song as a nice little break from those couple very sad, intense songs before the last couple sad intense songs of the album. So now it's time for Killing Me, which was a single. It's so good. I love the dramatics of it. Like, it just is so me. I love the rhythm of this verse and like the melody, and even like the usage of F words over and over, like the curious feeling, you're fiending for love. Like the rhythm is so good. It's like addictive, like you're pulling and pushing. It's got just so much tension, which is true of this whole song actually. This song has so much tension, and it's like just pulling and pulling and pulling. Even with the chorus, how the choruses first start out with that high note of "You're Killing Me," and then you get to the bridge that's like intense over and over and over, and then finally it releases the tension and the "Killing Me" goes down, you know? We will get there, but I just love this song. There's so much tension that just builds and builds and builds and then releases so perfectly. I love that this is also another recognition of like the accepting toxic love theme, because it happens at the very beginning of the album again. Like it just so well mirrors that story, like how we even have the whole never-ending song vibe. This whole album feels very circular in the way the story is told, which is so cool. Like, that's the higher Killing Me. There's so many good rhymes in this one, like especially in the chorus, but also just so many good wordplays throughout this song. It's very well written. That's such a dramatic way to say it, but it's so good. This bridge is so good because it's pretty much the same line over and over and over until the very end, but it just builds and builds and builds. Once again with this tension, builds and builds and builds until it says, "Fight to survive, love of my life, you're killing me." And then it finally releases. And all of these layered harmonies that happen in order to build this tension, so fucking good. Here we go! That ending harmony is just so good. And now it's time for Winner, which is really fucking sad. Winner is a very depressing song to end this album on, but it also has so much meaning there. What I will say about Winner, it was compared to Family Line when it came out, like by Conan Gray himself, and I think that's not very fair to Winner. And because of that, I didn't immediately connect with the song. It is definitely about the same thing as Family Line, but it's so different. Family Line very much feels like I am being actively tortured to me, personally, whereas Winner feels like I've just laid down in the street and decided to give up. Like, they're so different feelings for me. They're both very devastating. They're both about similar things. I just don't feel like they're comparable. Of course, to me, personally, nothing can touch Family Line. Like, when I tell you no song has ever impacted me the way Family Line did, I truly, truly mean that. My favorite artists of all time have never impacted me the way Family Line did. Like, I have never had that kind of a breakdown over a song if I wasn't already going through something. Like, it was something. It was crazy. That's probably why the comparison doesn't feel very fair to me, but like within context of this whole album, Winner becomes even more meaningful, and it really brings everything together, especially talking about some of the stuff that happens right in the beginning with Found Heaven. It's very emotional, and it's a really hard one, actually, but let's just go in. I have to stop procrastinating. That is such a line. Like, the pots and pans and roaches shudder at your name. Like, that is like a bone-chilling lyric. This, in context with the album, is so devastating because it's literally saying, you know, we've just gone through all of these devastating love songs that hurt so much and all of these incredibly painful things, and then to go back to this childhood trauma and look back at that person and say, none of this ever hurt me the way that you hurt me. Like, that is so fucking sad. It's... I might cry. But anyway... And then again, to have You're Killing Me be very clearly a song about the breakup, right? And then to say, but nothing quite killed me the way that you did. I think in this context, it's also really sad to go through like something so heartbreaking, like your first heartbreak, something so painful like that, and to look back at it and to think, actually, even all of that was nothing compared to this other trauma that I faced. Like, actually, nothing can quite hurt me the way that this other thing from my past ruined me. His vocals are really screaming. This is another moment where the production takes a small step back just for this part of the song to let him really scream it out and let his voice tell you the emotion instead of the instruments, which is so good. And this line is just so sad and so relatable if you've been there. The "look at how it's paid off" line is so interesting to me because I think you can look at it in multiple ways, because this song is so depressing. And this song is literally him saying, you are the winner. So it makes it seem very sad. Like, look at how it's paid off that I tried to survive. You win anyway. But also, like, if you look at where he is, he's a lot happier than he was. He's very successful. He's doing very well. So if you look at it that way, it could be also saying, look at how it's paid off. I did kind of make it out. I did survive. So I think it depends. I don't really know if there was a specific angle. I don't know what angle he had intention with that, but I do think that both interpretations are very interesting. That is such a sad way to end the album, but it is so good. And now we have it all wrapped up. Not really in a neat little bow considering how sad that was, but it's all wrapped up. I would like some peace, personally, some happiness, some joy, maybe. I don't know why everyone has decided they have to end their album on such a sad note. Like Olivia Rodrigo did that with Guts, with Teenage Dream. I would like to leave an album not feeling like I want to go lay down in the highway, but I don't think that's in the cards for me. And that's not even a complaint. Like, I'm not telling y'all I hate the track list or anything. I just would like to feel happy at some point. But you know, Taylor's coming soon with a breakup album, so I don't think that's in the cards for me. I just don't. But that was genuinely a very good album. And if we are answering the question of, is this his best album? Personally, me, I do always say this right when an album comes out, but because of the way that I love this style and the way I've already had all of these singles on repeat, I do think it's probably my favorite. If you look at it as an all-around album, I do think it's probably his strongest project as a whole. Like, it's the album that's the most sonically cohesive, thematically cohesive. I think it has a lot of cool variation in the different sounds, the different emotions, the different techniques, which is really cool. I think if this sound is not your thing, then you're just gonna disagree with me, and that's okay. And I just feel like this album was made with so much love for the like 80s music that it's trying to emanate, and because of that, it's just so well done. This is just a note from editor Chris. There were a few points that I wanted to make that I totally missed. First off, with Winner, I totally didn't point out, like, the first time he says, you don't want to hear the truth, do you? There's so much tension in his voice that is just so beautiful, and he portrays it so well. And then for that tension to be released later on in the emotion when he really screams at the end, and then the final, you don't want to hear the truth, do you? But it has a lot less tension because he's like let all of that emotion out, and it's so good. And it hurt my feelings so bad that I forgot to say anything about it. And lastly, I also wanted to say I was watching one of his little interview clips about Found Heaven, and I saw that he actually created the album because he was watching Dirty Dancing with his friend and sobbing through the entire movie, which is so relatable, and he decided he wanted to make an album that very much felt like a soundtrack from a movie like that, where you just escape away into the sound, which is exactly the vibe that I got from the album listening to it. So he did it perfectly, but on top of that, it explains so much why I'm obsessed with this album, because that is perfect. That is exactly for me. That is one of my top favorite movies of all time. And I feel like Conan Gray gets me on such a deep level now that I've heard that. Like, we need to be best friends, actually. It's perfect. It's perfect, and it's so for me. And I'm so happy that I heard about that, because, like, I absolutely called so many of these songs, like, the perfect song for a soundtrack. And that's exactly what he was going for. Like, from an 80s movie, literally. Like, it's perfect. I am not good at album ranking. The only album rankings I've done have been for albums I have on repeat for weeks straight, and I adjust the ranking so many times before I pick one. So no ranking, but I do pick golden trios, okay? And my golden trio is subject to change, but what I'm gravitating towards right now after just a couple listens of the full album is Ally Rose, Forever With Me, and Killing Me. Well, Ally Rose makes me want to scream. Forever With Me makes me want to lay down and cry, and then Killing Me is just my perfect level of overdramatic. It's very much for me. So that's my golden trio. I would love to hear yours if you'd like to add it down in the comments, but that is all we have for today. I'm so happy I was able to make this video work out, even though I had so many tech issues at first. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you're welcome to subscribe, like the video, all of that jazz to see more of me in the future. There are so many albums coming out soon that I'm very excited to talk about. So I will definitely have more stuff coming out. I'm very excited about it. If you want to check out any of my links, they are down in the description, including a link to Operation Olive Branch, which is a very important organization right now working to help people who are in need of help in Palestine. They are also very clear and explicit about where exactly your money is going, which I think is so important. So if you would like to help, that is, I think, the best way right now that you can do it. So please check that out, even if you don't check out anything else from me. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I also do want to say, I know there are a few people watching who have been following me on TikTok for a while and have come from watching like all of my videos. And I just want to say that I really do appreciate you guys. Your support means so much to me. And I really, like, you guys are the reason that I felt comfortable and excited to do this as well. So thank you so much for that support. And I am so excited to bring more. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and I will see you next time. Bye!